When you've got time in your hands, it's time to twiddle the thumbs, isn't it? It always bothers me about thumb twiddling, about whether they start clashing together, or you get one out of synchronicity, or the one goes the wrong way. So it was with great delight that I discovered about 10 years ago that some inventor at the New York Toy Fair had come up with a little device which helps you to sort it out. It's a thumb twiddler. Extraordinary, just that. It rolls around, but it's got a place there for a thumb and a place for another thumb. Put them in and then bring your fingers together. Ah, there we go. Perfect synchronicity. Both the thumbs behave themselves, going around together in the correct direction and 180 degrees apart. Saves me having to go to night school to learn how to twiddle my thumbs. Well, so there's a lot of toys out there which are thumb twiddlers or finger fiddlers or whatever they are, and I've got a few more to show you now, but that's a nice one. This is a lovely one that's been out for many years. A Lico company in Taiwan first showed it at the Nuremberg Toy Fair about 30 years ago. It's made of rubber. It's variously called the Martian doll or Panic Pete, and when you squeeze it, the eyes and nose and the ears all come sticking out. But it's a nice feel to it, and kids can actually handle with their fingers, so it entertains the fingers. But I suppose it could be used for wrist exercise, but it's really meant for something to fiddle with your hands. That's perfect. Panic Pete or the Martian doll. Good one. A much simpler one is this one here, which is the old clackers, but look what they've done with it. They've made a little gearing, put there, and this is a lovely timing thing. If you just sort of do an action like that, there's nothing much happens. You've got to go a certain, that's it. Now we're in sync. A certain speed, it likes to go, and then it will clack away like anything, or you just hold one end if you like. That's a perfect finger fiddle. It makes lovely shapes and designs in space as you twiddle it around, but the main one is that one, is a good old clack, clack, clack sound. So, in a perfect one. All these things fit in the pocket. That's the other thing about a finger fiddle. You want something that fits in your pocket. Here's a strange one which I picked up at one of the toy fairs. There's a couple of them, but you've got pieces which come apart. You just pull it apart and it slips back in again. And then the idea is, I think, to fiddle it around, just fiddle with it, and see, for instance, you can, with a bit of effort, make a toroidal movement so that it goes inside out, turns to 180 degrees. It's tricky to do that, but it's fun to attempt it. There we are, it's going around like that. But if we fiddle with one hand, I like that, or you can fiddle it with both hands. I like things which are ambidextrous, as it were, either hand or one hand, and fingers go through it. It's a strange shape, and of course it's got all curves. That's another bit. I don't like straight lines with these things. It's got to be curved. It's more entertaining for the fingers. Here's one that Chuck Hoberman invented about 10 years ago. It's typical of Chuck. It's got some lovely transformation of shape. That is a tetrahedron of four triangular sides. But look what happens when you pull these pieces apart. It turns into an octahedron. It's got a triangular hole there, and then four triangular colours and more holes. So, and when you push the pieces together, it goes back into a tetrahedron. And it's small enough almost, there's a place with a small hole where you can put a ring through it to make it into a little key fob. But lovely piece of work by Chuck to make a dramatic change of shape. So something for the hands to fiddle with. Even more fiddly are these Popeyes, which Tomy Toy Company produced back in the 80s. This is a lovely piece of plastic. When you pull the pieces apart, it does that, like a little concertina. But when you bend it, it does an action like that, which is very nice. And put your finger over the end and it will make slightly softens the sound. And the idea, I think, actually originally was to make it in a kit form where you had a little robot head and made the arms of a robot. But I just like it for itself. That it's a perfect little finger for the hand. A perfect bit of entertainment. Popeyes. Beaut. Absolute beaut, that. This is a strange one to put in this genre, but this is a rattleback. You should probably recognise it. But it's been very, very well made by a German or Polish designer. And what's interesting about this is the shape and the feel about it is just superb. One of his friends is a psychoanalyst, or psychotherapist, I should say, enjoys letting his patients, who are a little bit tense and so on, play with it while they're talking to him. It helps to relax their mind if they've got something soothing to feel with. So the feel of this is superb curves, very nicely made, beautifully finished, wonderful sheen to it, very nice appearance, plus the fact that it acts as a rattleback. But the feel of it is everything, and that's the best part of having a good finger fiddle, something that soothes the hands. I like that. There's a well-known toy which came out many years ago. I used to make them as a child, button and threads. You just have a button in the middle with threads, and this is a lovely reworking of the same thing, but it's got little things at the end which make a whistle. That's nice. It's the old business of, again, you've got to time it just right, pull it in and pull it out, and it makes that lovely action, and a beautiful one too. So that's certainly a lovely thing to play with, a finger fiddle. And another version I came across in America about 20 years ago. It's got 2 discs, not one, so when you pull it and release, you've got 2 discs making all sorts of interesting shapes with the cords. Look at that, extraordinary. Much more interesting than just the usual button and thread, single button and thread. So that's been a most enjoyable thing to play with. And a strange reworking of this by a completely different approach to it, really, is this thing here, which would you believe is the same idea, actually, the button and thread, except they made a sort of scissors action here. Look what happens. You wind it up like that, as I did the others. You go with an action like that to do it. And then it's all timing. You've got to release, pull, release, makes a good whirling sound. And the outside one doesn't actually move, isn't moved by the strings. It's only got one hole, whereas the other two, the blue ring and the pink central disc, have got 2 holes in it, so they wind or unwind the string that connects it. And it's just a little action with the fingers like that. That's a very nice action for entertaining your digits. They call it a spinsation. That's a nice one, isn't it? So there's a lot of these out in the market, which are very appealing and very much helping people to relax, and when they're bored or when they're stuck at somewhere, or very often having a conversation, they want something to do with their fingers. So you just twiddle your fingers, do something, but make sure they don't do too much twiddling, otherwise they'll get into a bit of a tangle.